Maybe just use your lips like that. They use dark magic, a form of folk magic or natural magic practices in the Philippines. This is actually true and a little bit scary. It's believed the spirit or the soul of a deceased person or animal that can manifest itself or hunt the living. Folklore has it that they can range from being barely perceptible wispy shapes to vivid, lifelike figures. So beware of pretty ladies in the rural areas. Hey, it's me Rubeauti. Because Halloween is coming, I'd also like to present a spooky episode about Filipino mythical creatures and horror beliefs in the Philippines. Filipinos share various beliefs in the supernatural. Even in such modern times, many still believe that mythical creatures live among us. This may be attributed to the old folk tales they were told in their childhood or to the creative minds and storytelling abilities of Filipinos. Even before colonizers set their sights on the Philippine archipelago, Philippines already had an established belief system so rich and ingrained in our way of life that some traces remain to this day. Some creatures are thought to be like gods and goddesses, acting as divine providers and guardians to the townspeople. On the other hand, some are viewed as villainous, causing misfortune. Get to know some of the Filipino mythical creatures, and so you know what to look out for when you're winding into an unknown town in the Philippines. Multo. The Filipino term for a ghost is multo, which is derived from the Spanish word muerto, meaning dead. A multo is believed the spirit or the soul of a deceased person or animal that can manifest itself or hunt the living. Folklore has it that they can range from being barely perceptible wispy shapes to vivid, lifelike figures. Phantom and demon are terms used to describe it. There are quite a number of locations in the country where you can go ghost hunting. Baguio should be on top of your list. One of the most commonly cited spirits in Baguio City is a lady in white in teacher's camp. She has been seen walking all throughout the teacher's camp, yet no one really knows who she is or why she haunts the area. Another spirit there that has been seen all throughout the camp is a headless priest. He is just as mysterious as the white lady, yet a little more disturbing because considering it is seen without a head. I actually have some friends who saw this white lady roaming around the teacher's camp and this headless priest. Some of my friends heard a lady crying, female voice crying at night, in the middle of the night. It's really creepy there in teacher's camp because every year before, I think for 10 years, every year we used to go there for religious gatherings. We stay there for like 1 week, and then some of our friends experience those kinds of horror there. There is one time I have this friend of mine. They took a family picture inside of one of the cottages. There was a lady who is obviously not a part of their family and was not there when they took the picture. I mean, in real, you don't see it. But on the picture, there was a lady like hugging one of the family member. And then later at night, the kid who was being hugged by the white lady got sick, like really high fever. And I saw the picture. It's really... Another one in Baguio is Baguio taxi drivers tell a story about a woman. Some say it is a white lady again who would walk to the middle of the street to stop passing a vehicle in Outlook Drive near the area of the former Hyatt Terraces. Naturally, a driver would stop to avoid hitting her, right? She would then ask to be brought to Mines View Park, one of the most famous tourist spots also in Baguio City, but would disappear before getting there. Actually, all the taxis I've taken at night in Baguio actually have the same story about this alleged white lady. There were even times that we had to take a taxi and it was late night. They didn't want to take us because we are going to pass on that street on the way. It's scary and funny at the same time. And if they don't see her crossing or walking on the side of the street, the next thing they know is she would be sitting already on the back passenger seat. It's really creepy. And then just disappear on the way. The next one is Aswang. One of the most known local mythical creatures is the Aswang. You probably heard that already. They are believed to be evil beings who feed on the blood and flesh of their victims. They appear as ordinary humans transforming at night into an animal. To ward off the pesky Aswangs, salt should be sprinkled around the house and garlic must be hung by the windows and doorways. The term Aswang refers to a wide variety of shape-shifting evil monsters such as vampires, ghouls, witches. They can also take the form of animals such as wild boars and large carnivorous dogs. While every region has their own version of the Aswang, it is most closely associated with the province of Capiz. In fact, the province has leaned in on this reputation and holds an annual Aswang festival to celebrate it. Even Spanish colonists reported that the Aswang was the most dreaded of the Philippine mythological beasts. Duende. Duende or Nuno sa Punso. In Philippine folklore, the Nuno sa Punso, or Old Man of the Mound, is a dwarf-like monster who lives in an anthill or termite mound. The Nuno must grant its permission before any tree is cut. Any virgin ground is disturbed in order to prevent angering it and suffering the consequences. They can provide a person who stepped on their shelter with good luck or misfortune. Superstitious Filipinos, when passing by a mound, will ask the resident Nunos permission to let them pass with the phrase, "Tabi-tabi po." Strange and sudden illness that befall a person are sometimes attributed to Nunos. It is also said that Nunos don't like to being pointed at and could cause one to break a person's finger. That is why it is not good pointing with your finger when you're in the mountains or forest, because you might be pointing at a Nuno without knowing it. Maybe just use your lips like that. If a child's medical condition is untreatable by modern medicine, it is often considered a Nuno has placed a curse on the patient. A special practitioner called albolario, or a witch doctor, will carry out a traditional ceremony which is melting candle wax into a spoon and then pouring it into water and reading the shape formed by the wax, thus informing their suggestions on how to dispel the curse. Usually, this healing process involves an offering of food, drink, or trinkets to the Nuno. Next is mangkukulam or kulam. This is actually true and a little bit scary. Mangkukulam or bruja, from Spanish word bruja, are witches, wizards, or sorcerers who cast evil spells to humans. They use dark magic, a form of folk magic or natural magic practices in the Philippines. It puts emphasis on the innate power of the self and the secret knowledge of low magic. Earth, fire, herb, spices, candles, oils, kitchenwares, and utensils are often used for rituals, charms, spells, and potions. Anyone from the province knows that if you've got an ailment that can't be explained by doctors, it's probably the fault of a mangkukulam. I remember my grandmother. She has a lot of body pains and we always take her to the doctor, but they don't find anything. But my grandmother was really in pain, screaming because of the pain that she feels inside. But the doctor can't find any problem. There's nothing. The only person you can ask help from is an albularyo or a witch doctor. If you want to go on a mangkukulam hunt, head on over to the island of Siquijor, which has long had the reputation of being the home of mangkukulam. A mangkukulam may use a voodoo doll and needle to cast spells on people they want to revenge on. Actually, they said that is the thing that they usually use when they want to perform kulam on someone. They use a voodoo doll and needle, or a photograph, or hair. They are similar to an albularyo or witch doctor. Both can be considered witches, but the main difference is that the albularyo is more of a doctor who heals people, while mangkukulam is a malevolent person who tricks and curses others. Albularyo and mangkukulam, they're both witches, but their work is totally the opposite to each other. Albularyo kills what the mangkukulam does. When the mangkukulam put a spell on someone or curse someone, it's the albularyo who can heal that curse or that spell. So usually when people think that someone's giving them kulam or doing them kulam, then they go to Albularyo. And actually, it's so good because the Albularyo will not just heal you or help you remove whatever you feel. They will also tell you who is causing that to you if you ask them. But usually they don't reveal it because they don't want trouble. But if they are like really brave albularyos, if they don't really care about trouble, they will tell you who's doing that to you. It's strange, right? It's creepy. Like my grandmother. The albularyo told us who's doing that to her. I'm not gonna reveal it here because they might be watching me. Folks say mangkulams cast spells to someone they feel envious or jealous of. My mom also told me about her experience when she was a child. They had a neighbor who they suspect was a witch who would gather the children in front of their house to make a paper doll show. So what she'll do is she would draw a male and a female human silhouette on a piece of paper and cut them out. Then she would hold 2 sticks and make the papers dance just by doing that. The next one is Sigbin. This creature may not be familiar to people from Luzon, but Boholanos definitely know of the Sigbin. It's said to look like a small kangaroo with flopping ears, burning eyes, a whip-like tail, and the ability to walk backwards. Sigbin is a monster that emerges from the shadows at night and feeds on the blood of its victims. They say it walks backward with its head tucked in between its rear legs. Families who own Sigbin are called Sigbinan. They are thought to have the power to control these monsters, which they supposedly keep in clay jars. Sigbins are also known to be kept as pets by Aswangs. Chanak. Chanak is a small humanoid monster in Philippine mythology which pretends to be an innocent baby before attacking humans. It disguises itself as a baby abandoned in the forest or in the field. It wails loudly to attract a passerby, and when picked up, it sheds its disguise like a snake shedding its old skin, revealing its true form, and kills the victim by biting and mauling. Described in Tagalog and Bicolano folklore as a small bald-headed goblin with sharp teeth, pointed ears, bloodshot eyes, and disproportionate legs. Manananggal. The Manananggal is a type of aswang known to feed on internal organs, infants, or the phlegmatic discharge of the sick. Ew. By day, it appears to be a lovely fair-skinned woman with long, flowing hair. When night falls, its upper body grows bat-like wings and splits at the waist, leaving its lower half behind. It goes to considerable lengths to conceal its bottom half before taking to the skies in the pursuit of prey. So beware of pretty ladies in the rural areas. If they don't reside in the trees, viscera suckers burrow deep in the jungle. Sometimes, they also embed themselves in local communities to more easily find prey. The Manananggal can be defeated by sprinkling salt and or crushed garlic on its lower half to prevent its upper body from combining with it. Their stories originated in the Visayas region, specifically in the provinces of Iloilo, Capiz, and Antique. Santelmo. It is a term used by Filipinos to describe balls of fire in fields and swamps. Santelmo is short for Apoy ni San Elmo, which translates to Saint Elmo's fire. For ages, European sailors have reportedly been witnesses to this phenomenon. Pre-colonial islanders believed it is a living entity. They have been seeing this entity or fireball in Sierra Madre Mountains. It was scientifically explained as electrical field, which have diverged from the lines. However, the sightings were reported since the Spanish era. The fireball is said to transform into a fire-breathing beast. At night, it enchants travelers and fishermen to follow it. They walk aimlessly till they become exhausted and get lost. To find their way home, they must turn their clothes inside out, and this will rid them of the enchantment and help them find their way back. The next is Tikbalang. Philippine highlands and forests are thought to be home to Tikbalang, an anthropomorphic creature which resembles a centaur in appearance. It's a large horse-like humanoid with excessively long limbs. When it squats, its knees are higher than its head. They are trickster creatures notorious for leading travelers astray. There is a theory that the image of half-horse and half-man creature was propagated by the conquistadors to keep the natives afraid of the night. Then later on, Their stories of this creature are used by parents to frighten children from going out at night. It is said that when you feel disoriented or off track when hiking, you are getting pranked by Tikbalang, and you have to turn your shirt inside out to ward it off. But another countermeasure is to ask permission out loud to pass by or not to produce too much noise while in the woods in order not to offend or disturb the Tikbalang. So when you go hiking, just say tabi-tabi po. It's like a permission to pass, just don't say anything at all. My grandmother told me about their experience of a Tikbalang. It was like around 1940s, 1950s, I think. I forgot already. But she said she saw my grandfather walking backwards with a bolo like this, holding a bolo like this. They were in a mountain going down, going home. And then my grandfather was walking like this with a bolo, but backwards. And then when they got home, she said my grandfather was really shaking. He was really scared. And then she found out a Tikbalang was following them. That's why my grandfather was walking that way with a bolo like that. Capre. Capre is a filthy giant who likes to smoke huge rolls of cigars and hide within and atop large trees, particularly the balete and old acacia or mango trees. If a person is stuck in a place and keeps going around in circles, they are being played around with by a capre. To escape its control, they said you have to take your shirt and wear it inside out. A capre is a Philippine mythical creature that could be characterized as a tree giant. It is described as being tall, like 7 to 9 feet, big, black, hard, muscular creature. Capres are normally described as having a strong smell that would attract human attention, but the smell is really weird and it smells so bad. If a capre is interested in a woman, it may approach them and offer friendship. And if a capre falls in love with a human, the capre will remain loyal to that love interest for the rest of that human's life. In our backyard, we have huge trees, mango, mahogany, and acacia trees. And they said that there's actually capre in our backyard, and living in that acacia tree. I haven't seen it, but our neighbors saw it. They saw a rolling ball of fire, the cigar fire, rolling down from the top of the tree. Some actually saw the capre in our acacia tree at the time, but that was like when I was small, when I was a child. And then they reek. There was one time I was washing the dishes in the pump at the back of our house. I heard my father talking, but he was alone there at the back. And he was saying, "You're here again. I can smell you. You smell so bad. I told you not to come here anymore, but you are here again." I heard him saying that. I was like, "Who are you talking to?" And then he said, "The capre is here." And then I said, "How did you know?" And then he said, "The smell is so strong." And I was like, "Oh, okay. So that smell that I was also smelling that time, and it smells so bad, it's the capre. The smell is really strong." And of course I had to run inside the house that time. And then there were actually some ghosts also inside our house, like inside our house. I have never seen it. My parents, my sister, we never. But our neighbors, they saw it. Like different people who saw it at different time. They said in our living room there was a man standing wearing black without a head. And then in our backyard there is also a man in white, bloody. And then our neighbor said that could be the man who was shot dead in our backyard. Then my friends, they don't want to sleep over in our house because they feel something weird. There was one time that my friend had to sleep over, and then the next morning, she told me about her experience. There was a lady who groped her, like a female, a girl, and who groped her in her sleep. And then she couldn't move, she couldn't scream. But she saw that the lady was like on top of her. But at that time, we were sleeping together, like we were in the same room. So I didn't feel anything, but my friends felt something. So my father used to say that those things are guarding our house. A lot of our neighbors are actually scared to look at our house at night. These mythical creatures remains a memory to some people who lives in the provinces. As the more crowded a community gets, these mythical creatures appear less. And some people say they go and find a more peaceful place to stay. Nowadays, Filipino children are often frightened into obedience by grown-ups with these nightmare-inducing creatures, like "don't be naughty," or "a capre will come and get you." "Don't play outside at night, or an aswang will prey on you." "Don't play in the dirt. You might piss off a nuno sa punso." To our parents and grandparents, these are real because they experienced it. But to us, these are merely legends and tactic to scare the younger ones. So if you plan to travel the provinces and you find yourself winding in a very rural area where there are not a lot of people, the phrase tabi-tabi po could be useful. Just say it if you pass by a huge tree or a mound. To the people who travel the Philippines, can you share some of your experiences of this if there are any? If you find this video useful and interesting, please give me a like, hit on that subscribe button and notification bell so you won't miss any of my videos. I'll see you in the next one. And of course, I had to run inside the house at the time.